Ready? Question 1. Compare scope and condition. Catalog Now's website uses an Amazon EC2 instance store for its item catalog. They want to ensure the catalog is highly available and stored durably. What should a solutions architect propose to meet these requirements for the catalog data? Select one answer. Review the answer choices on screen. The correct answer is option D. EBS and RDS both look right here, but Amazon Elastic Hash for Redis can be used as a highly available and durable in-memory data store. With Redis persistence, AOF, or RDB snapshots, data can be made durable. Redis clusters can provide high availability. If the catalog data benefits from low latency reads and can be structured for a key value store, Elastic Hash for Redis is a strong candidate for improving availability and durability over Instant Store, which is ephemeral. Welcome back. Stack Lessons here with another round. 10 questions today, all on Secrets Manager rotation, ACM certificate lifecycle, and SQS and Kinesis decoupling. You'll get 6 seconds after each prompt to pick your answer before the reveal. Take your time and good luck. Keep score as you go. I will ask for your total at the end. Keep your focus here. Question 2. Watch for must, most, least, or except. License Manager BYOL Inc. is migrating a legacy application to EC2 instances. The application's software license is tied to the number of physical cores and sockets of the server it runs on. They want to use their existing licenses, BYOL, bring your own license, on AWS, which EC2 hosting option provides the necessary control for this licensing model. Select one answer. Review the answer choices on screen. The correct answer is option B. The words sockets and cores unlock the answer. EC2 dedicated hosts give you visibility and control over the physical server, sockets, cores, host ID on which your instances run. This is essential for many BYOL scenarios where software licenses are tied to these physical attributes. AWS License Manager can be used in conjunction with dedicated hosts to help track and manage these licenses. Dedicated instances also run on dedicated hardware, but offer less visibility into the underlying physical server details compared to dedicated hosts. Keep your focus here. Here's question 3. App Migration Service Lift needs to migrate a large number of on-premises physical, virtual, and cloud-based servers to AWS with minimal downtime and complexity. They are looking for a primary migration service that automates the replication of source servers to AWS. Which AWS service is recommended for this lift and shift server migration? Select one answer. Review the answer choices on screen. The correct answer is option B. AWS has exactly one primary lift and shift service. AWS Application Migration Service, AWS MGN, is recommended as the primary migration service for lift and shift migrations to AWS. MGN minimizes time-intensive, error-prone manual processes by automatically converting your source servers from physical, virtual, or other cloud infrastructure to run natively on AWS. It supports continuous block-level replication from source servers to a staging area in your AWS account, allowing for short cutover windows. All right, question 4. Spot the narrowing word. Reporting Data Corp system delivers hundreds of .cs files to an S3 bucket daily. These files must be converted to Apache Parquet format and stored in a separate transform data bucket. Which solution achieves this transformation with the least development effort? Select one answer. Review the answer choices on screen. The correct answer is option C. Least development effort points straight to managed ETL. AWS Glue is a fully managed ETL service. An AWS Glue crawler can automatically infer the schema of the .csv files in S3. Then, an AWS Glue ETL job can be easily configured, often with auto-generated scripts that can be customized to read the CSV data, transform it into Parquet format, and write it to the target S3 bucket. This approach requires minimal custom coding and development effort compared to other options. Okay, question 5. Classic exam trap. Root user Secure Corp has created a new AWS account and needs to secure AWS account root user access according to best practices. Which two actions are fundamental for this? Choose to review the answer choices on screen. The correct answers are option A and option B. Option C looks right, but root user cannot be deleted. Securing the root user is critical. Best practices include A, using a strong, unique password for the root user. B, enabling multi-factor authentication, MFA, for the root user. These two actions significantly enhance the security of the root user credentials. It's also recommended to avoid using the root user for everyday tasks and instead create IAM users with appropriate permissions. Manage services throughout. MGN for lift and shift, dedicated hosts for BYOL socket visibility, and the root user lockdown with MFA pattern repeats. Here we go. Careful on question 6. This one has a trap. Secure Rotate DB hosts a multi-tier web application using an Amazon Aurora MySQL DB cluster for storage. The application tier is on EC2 instances. IT security guidelines mandate database credential encryption and rotation every 14 days. What's the least operationally burdensome way to meet this? Select one answer. Review the answer choices on screen. The correct answer is option A. In production, this rotation must be completely hands-off. AWS Secrets Manager is designed to manage, retrieve, and automatically rotate secrets like database credentials. It can integrate with AWS KMS for encrypting the stored secrets. For Amazon Aurora, Secrets Manager can natively manage the rotation process. By creating a secret, associating it with the Aurora cluster, and configuring a 14-day rotation schedule, the entire process of secure storage and rotation is automated with minimal operational effort. Here we go, question 7. Pay attention to what is really asked. Global App Corp is deploying a new public web application to AWS, which will operate behind an application load balancer, ALB. For edge encryption, an SSL TLS certificate issued by an external certificate authority, CA, is required. This certificate must be rotated annually before it expires. What is the recommended procedure for a solutions architect to manage this certificate lifecycle? Select one answer. Review the answer choices on screen. The correct answer is option C. External CA is the phrase that changes everything here. For certificates issued by an external CA, they must be imported into AWS Certificate Manager, ACM. Once imported, the certificate can be associated with an ALB for SSL TLS termination. ACM does not automatically renew imported certificates. Therefore, setting up an Amazon EventBridge, formerly CloudWatch Events, notification for impending expiration is crucial. This allows for manual reimportation of the renewed certificate from the external CA into ACM before the current one expires, ensuring continuous secure operation. Next up, question 8. Match the answer to the situation. SQS Message Costop runs a script on an existing EC2 instance to pull an Amazon SQS queue and process messages. The company is looking to significantly reduce operational costs associated with this message processing task, while also ensuring the system can effectively handle a potentially growing number of messages arriving in the queue. What architectural change should a solutions architect recommend to achieve these goals? Select one answer. Review the answer choices on screen. The correct answer is option D. Lambda event source mapping makes this a no-brainer. AWS Lambda is a serverless compute service that executes code in response to events, such as messages arriving in an Amazon SQS queue, and automatically manages the underlying compute resources. This eliminates the operational overhead associated with managing an EC2 instance, patching, scaling, etc. Lambda scales automatically based on the number of incoming messages, ensuring it can handle a growing workload efficiently. Critically, with Lambda, you pay only for the compute time consumed while your code is running, which can be highly cost-effective for event-driven processing tasks compared to maintaining a continuously running EC2 instance, especially if message arrival is intermittent. Let's look at why keeping that EC2 instance running is the wrong move here. Imagine your EC2 instance checking the SQS queue every few seconds at 3 a.m. The queue is empty, but the meter is still running. A T3.micro costs around $8 a month, whether messages arrive or not. Now flip to Lambda. You delete your polling script entirely. AWS pulls the queue for you through something called an event source mapping. A message arrives, Lambda spins up, runs your code, and stops. You pay only for the milliseconds your code runs. 12 hours of silence costs $0. And if 10,000 messages suddenly arrive, Lambda scales up automatically. That's the trap with A, B, and C. They keep the always-on EC2 cost. Lambda eliminates it. Next up, question 9. Keep the constraints in view. ECM order process has an application that processes customer orders. This application is hosted on an Amazon EC2 instance and saves the orders to an Amazon Aurora database. Occasionally, during periods of high traffic, the workload does not process orders fast enough, leading to delays and potential issues. What architectural change should a solutions architect implement to ensure orders are written reliably to the database as quickly as possible, especially during traffic surges? Select one answer. Review the answer choices on screen. The correct answer is option C. Decouple ingestion from the database? Always. Introducing an Amazon SQS queue decouples the order ingestion from the database writing process. The application on the primary EC2 instance, or potentially a different front end, can quickly write order messages to the SQS queue. A separate fleet of worker EC2 instances, managed by an auto-scaling group to handle varying load, or AWS Lambda functions, can then consume messages from this SQS queue and write them to the Aurora database at a rate the database can handle. This architecture provides resilience against traffic surges, ensures orders are not lost, as SQS retains them until successfully processed, and allows the database writing process to scale independently. Let's slow down here. The right fix for a write spike is worth understanding properly. Imagine it's Black Friday. 10,000 orders hit your server in 1 minute. Your EC2 instance can't shovel them into Aurora fast enough. Orders back up or drop. Where's the fix? It depends on the bottleneck. Slow reads? Add Elastic Cache as a read cache. But writes still go straight to Aurora. A cache doesn't absorb write pressure. Underpowered server? Vertical scaling hits a ceiling fast, and you pay for peak capacity all year. Spiky write loads? That's what queues are for. SQS holds every order until a worker processes it. Nothing gets lost. Workers auto-scale. The database gets writes at a sustainable rate. That's the pattern the exam rewards. Next up, question 10. Follow the operational constraint. Real-time data API needs to design an application with a REST-based interface that allows data to be received in near real time from a third-party vendor. Once received, the application processes and stores this data for further analysis. The current application, running on Amazon EC2 instances, experiences issues where the third-party vendor receives numerous 503 service unavailable errors when sending data, especially when the data volume spikes. During these spikes, the application's compute capacity reaches its maximum limit, and it becomes unable to process all incoming requests. Which architectural design should a solutions architect recommend to provide a more scalable and resilient solution for handling these data ingestion spikes? Select one answer. Review the answer choices on screen. The correct answer is option D. SQS was the right call last question, but not here. Amazon Kinesis Data Streams is a highly scalable and durable real-time data streaming service designed to ingest large volumes of data from many sources. It can effectively handle data spikes from third-party vendors. By using Kinesis Data Streams for ingestion, you create a buffer that can absorb these spikes. AWS Lambda functions can then be configured as consumers of this Kinesis data stream. Lambda provides serverless, event-driven compute that scales automatically based on the volume of data in the stream. This combination creates a highly scalable, resilient, and operationally efficient solution for ingesting and processing near real-time data without being susceptible to compute capacity limits of a fixed EC2 fleet during spikes. Let's slow down here. Understanding why Kinesis beats SQS on spikes is a classic exam trap. Imagine a fire hose connected to a bucket. If the bucket fills, water spills. That's your EC2 hitting its limit and throwing 503 errors. Kinesis Data Streams is the big cistern in the middle. The vendor pours data in at full speed. Your AWS Lambda functions drain it at their own pace. Say traffic spikes to 50 MB per second, Kinesis absorbs it. Lambda scales automatically, processing records in parallel batches. The data stays in the stream for up to 24 hours by default, so nothing is lost. SQS looks similar, but one consumer eats each message for good, no replay. That's the trap. The question rewards a buffer that can hold and replay data, and that's Kinesis. 3 takeaways from this session. First, Secrets Manager plus KMS automates Aurora 14-day credential rotation with 0 manual password updates. Second, imported ACM certificates never auto-renew. EventBridge expiry alerts are the only operational safety net. Third, Kinesis absorbs real-time ordered ingestion bursts. SQS decouples write spikes from the database layer, know which scenario triggers which. This batch covered what AWS examiners love most: automated secret rotation, the imported Cert renewal gap, and when Kinesis beats SQS. If you can argue why each answer wins, you are thinking like a solutions architect. 2 seconds before you go. If these practice sets are useful, subscribe so you don't miss the next one and so the algorithm shares it wider. Comment your score and what tripped you up. I read every reply. Want a different certification next? Drop it below. And if anything about the pace or style could improve, send me your notes.